This is The Naked Life with Roxanne Noor. Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who has been rating the show on Spotify and liking and subscribing on YouTube. It's really giving me a lot of positive affirmation and hope and this feeling of being seen and loved. So thank you guys. I want to talk today about love. And one of the best books that I've read about love is called All About Love by Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks she died actually recently, was a Black feminist who tackles love in a really interesting approach. So when we speak about love, it's super easy to dive into kind of corny analogies, to have this awkwardness around it, because it's just such a vast, beautiful feeling that putting words over it or trying to describe it almost like it doesn't touch its essence, its core. But to some degree, we have all felt it. And what makes this book All About Love special is that there's the nice personal interpretation of it that she has, but then there's also seeing it in terms of society, systems, structures. And the first system or structure that we've experienced is the family structure, the nuclear family. And Bell Hooks has a really intelligent approach to her definition of love by actually speaking about being displaced from it. So sometimes we are able to speak about a topic because we've actually been so far away from it that when we're able to reach it and taste it, then we actually know what it really is. Before, it's all these things that exist in songs or just outside of us conceptually. And we've never truly felt it. So Bell Hooks talks about love by feeling how she wasn't in it. And that was through the realization, it sounds really simple, but her realization that love is not synonymous with neglect or abuse. How care is never and will be and cannot coexist with violence. And what she experienced with her father as a child was a lot of violence. And I think a lot of people have been told that this anger and this passion is a form of care, when really it's just a form of emotional illiteracy. It's a parent who doesn't know how to verbalize what they feel, and so they create it with fear. And that fear often happens through the use of violence. And this was such an obvious statement to read, but somehow so heartbreaking, because then for all the people that have experienced what their parents would tell them, like, I love you, and that may be true, that sentiment may be true, the practice of it was not rooted in truth. Because what is love? Like, let's break down love into action. Love in action is always rooted in attention and care. The greatest gift we can give anyone is our focused attention, is being there. And when you are a child of neglect, you feel the way in which you're not important if there's not that focus being put on you, not that care. If your parents don't remember anything about you, from the way you want dinner to what subjects in school interest you. There just feels like this lack of care and this not being seen. And so how can we love someone is by giving them that attention, and that attention not through what that we want to extract from them, what we want them to be, but by what they are, by that allowance and seeing what they are rather than shaping or contorting them into our own image. And so this was such a, like I said, very obvious sentiment, but reading it is like, for many people, like, wow, I wasn't loved in the way in which actually love should be, like attention, care, presence. Yeah, what makes love also so complex is not just the way it is in terms of action, but the way in which we speak about it. The way in which language is implemented and used. And it brings a futility to the feeling if I hear someone say, oh, I really love this ice cream. And then they tell me they love me 5 minutes later, like I'm synonymous with ice cream. And so there's all these various shades to love. And I think the Greeks had a beautiful way of tackling love. So there's the eros, or the passionate love, the all-consuming, like, I want to take you love. And then there's the pursuit of growth. There's the pursuit of friendship, which is philia. And then there's agape, like the love for others, which is like selfless and just there. It's that love that the sun has, that love that's no discrimination, just giving and giving and giving and never depleting in energy. And that's like a very holy love, that love for no reason, that love that's just really expansive. It's that kind of love that they would say like the guru has, that love for absolutely anyone despite of form, despite what you can extract and you can take from them. And when I look at my own life and what has separated me the most from love was making love all about the ways in which I can receive it rather than the ways in which I can give it. The focus was always this external, like this, I need it to feel, rather than how I can make others feel loved. And just changing that notion, just putting that, the love of other, not just on myself, it actually changed so much. Joseph Dispenza talks about this really beautifully, how we get what we want by feeling it first. And it sounds so counterintuitive, because if I'm just in scarcity of, I need this love, and it's always like I will feel love when I have a boyfriend, I will feel love when my parents congratulate me for this, I will feel love when X, Y, and Z. It doesn't work that way. Like, I feel love when I love, when it's not about the being given to, but the state of giving. And this is a part of so many practices in spirituality, and the beauty of what they would call seva, of service, of doing. And the people who changed society the most were the ones who knew how to operate from this place of love for no reason. And yeah, when we think of the greatest, who do we think of? We think of Martin Luther King, who spoke about what love is and what love is too, in the practice of love, in the practice of sustaining love, is actually forgiveness. There will be so many times when, because of the human condition, we ourselves don't show up in the way in which we want to for other people, and other people are consistently failing us. The ones we love the most, our parents, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, our wives, our sisters, our brothers. And to sustain love, because it's not always just naturally arising, it's that practice of returning to forgiveness, of seeing the humanness of the other person, of seeing their predicament. And forgiveness in that way, he goes really extreme, isn't just, I forgive, but I can distance myself from you and not need to see you again. I can forgive you from a distance. No, Dr. Martin Luther King says, like, forgiveness is like, I still keep you close. I see that you are me. And that's a super, super, super difficult one. And it takes a lot of strength to genuinely forgive, to genuinely have that return back to love, that practice when love is not there. And going back to Bell Hooks in her book All About Love, she talks about this displacement we feel from love in the structures and systems, and how capitalism is just the perversion of love. It's, I'm not enough. I'm not enough in myself, so I have to have things. I have to feel like I'm enough through this gratification of more. And then the preserving of it, the private property of it, the fearing my neighbor because I need to keep. And yeah, this feeling that no, like love is in the giving. Love is in the extension of the self. And a lot of the time we hear about boundaries, which are necessary, which are knowing the lines we draw around what we can give, what we want in our lives. But I feel like really the people I see who I actually feel the most touched by are the ones who are just this boundless, this all the way involvement in life, all the way working with it, all the way allowing people in. And it sounds really idealistic. I think in most cases, for most people, we draw boundaries because we see the way that when we do love and we do give, the heart is so open that it actually makes people take advantage of that. And that's the sad part of vulnerability too, is that it's a really, like, it's knowing who to be vulnerable with. It's knowing how to give love in a way that in which that love will not be taken advantage of, but will be well received and then circulated. So when we speak about love, there's the love in practice, there's the love in action, there's the attention, there's the showing up, there's the care, and then there's the fact that when we speak about it, how do we speak about it? And how so many of times we speak about it actually by not. It's through non-language. It's through those really intimate silences when you're looking in the eyes of another person and there's just that feeling that's there, and you don't put words over it because the words would just dilute the experience, and you let that silence speak, and you let that feeling, that sensation, that thing actually become a knowing that you come back to again and again and again and again. This contemporary day philosopher Alain de Botton really talks about this beautifully. He talks about how there's the philosophers in life who consistently doubt, who inquire, who question. And then there's people who base their love on the way they see God and religion, which is that faith that I can't see it maybe with my eyes, but I can feel it, and I can trust in that invisible force that is ever present. And even at the times where it's not there, because I've known it before, I am so aware that it exists. And I'm so aware that this is the highest state of being that I am willing to dedicate my life experience to that, to the knowledge of that. And that's the way the lover's love is, this faith and trust. And so when I feel the worst about myself in life, it's always when I am disconnected from love. And just having the knowledge on what conditions bring about love, the attention to things around us, to the people we love, that presence of just being there and holding space, that capacity to listen, that capacity to extend myself even when I'm tired or even when I don't want to, is what builds it. And that faith and that trust, that even in difficult moments where it's tested, I know that love still exists, and I'm willing to try to remain in that knowing.